So you want to tell the world about your business, your cause, or your organization. You can take ads out in newspapers, television, or radio. It can be expensive if you're on a small budget. Or you can try to get reporters interested in your story. At the PR House, we have years of experience actually working in newsrooms, and we can help you break into places like this. The first time you contact a newsroom, the editor's going to ask you, who cares about your story? So what do their readers, listeners, and viewers care about? Well, typically there are stories that are hooked to social trends, social issues, or are worldly issues, like human rights, immigration, climate change, the environment, Indigenous culture.
Keep it tight.
Your story is more newsworthy if it involves someone of high profile, so a politician, an athlete, or a movie star. And that's exactly what happened for Kira Fogg of Little Box of Rocks. So who endorsed your company?
Gwyneth Paltrow and Cameron Diaz.
And then what happened?
Our sales went through the roof.
I love it! That's media coverage for you. You're more likely to catch a reporter's attention if there's something about your story that's odd, bizarre, or unusual. So if it's the biggest, the best, or the only, or if it's truly unique. So when the Winnipeg Art Gallery uncrated thousands of pieces of Inuit art, that was national news.
Many of them haven't been seen by the very makers, their families, elders, community members for decades.
The massive Inuit collection was a great story because reporters were invited in to see the boxes being uncrated. The more visual, the more action you can provide reporters, the more likely they'll come out. The more local your story is, the more newsworthy it is. Who cares if it rains in Florida? Only Floridians. But if there's a killer frost in Florida and the orange crop is wiped out, the prices of oranges go up in your town, and that's newsworthy. The more people your story impacts, the more newsworthy it is, which is why Centrilia, that brings people here from all over the world, is a big story. It's also helpful if you understand a little bit about how newsrooms work. So the difference between a managing editor, a lineup editor, assignment editor, a host, and a journalist. So Richard, when someone calls you with a news tip or a news story, what's the first thing that you want to know?
How relevant the story is, whether or not it's going to have impact for our listeners here at 680 CJOB and those who are on the web at cjob.com.
Thanks. See, you don't have to take my word for it. Welcome to Media Relations 101. Once you have all the parts of that formula together, you still have to have the guts to tell your story. And at the PR House, we actually spend a lot of time helping people get ready to talk with reporters. So let's review. The more of these news values your story has, the more newsworthy it is. If your story connects with a social trend, involves someone of high profile, if it's unusual, if it's visual, if there's a local connection, if it impacts a lot of people, it's newsworthy. You'll have more success getting coverage if you understand how newsrooms work and if you have the guts to tell your story. It's not easy. It does require that you dig deep and do lots of shoveling to understand what's newsworthy in your story. This also applies to social media, or if you're having a bad news day. So if you're trying to get on the front page of the paper, use some of these news values. And if you're trying to get off the front page of the paper and need some help, give us a call.